I'm Jason Schwartz. I'm not running for office, but this is Kaniela, who is our present State House of Representatives in Hawaii, District 11. Is that right?
Kihei, Wailea, Makena.
Kihei, Wailea. No, I use the number, but Kihei, Wailea, Makena. So if that's you, you can vote for Kaniela. Now, you've been here 2 years. You've been in office. Is that right?
Yep, 2012.
Wow. Well, to me, that's 2 years.
Almost. Yeah.
When you started in the race, before you were the young kid that was challenging the big redheaded guy, and you were fortunate enough to prevail. How's it been up there in the State House?
It's been a whirlwind, really. It's been a lot of challenges, but a lot of super hard work, but kind of stressful. But at the end of the day, it's been extremely rewarding. And we got a ton of work done for South Maui. And
I have heard nothing but that Kaniela has been going at it, and really, I guess the word is, he doesn't know that you can't do a lot of things, so you're real busy doing it. It's good. See, what we always talk about, people that are fresh at it, that have the enthusiasm. So, what kind of issues have been brought up, and what do you feel like it's been accomplished?
When I first decided to run, I ran against the big money special interests, and I wanted to bring a new type of politics to Maui and to all of Hawaii. So I went against the machine, and even though I was outspent 10-1, I ended up winning by knocking on doors. I knocked on every door in the district over 4 times, so that's around 20,000 doors. I did it for 8 hours a day for about a year and a half. And that way, even if people might disagree on some issues, they at least know you're listening, and they know that you're going to work hard. So I took that with me and made sure that the people's concerns were my priorities. And of course, the number one thing was Kihei High School. So that was my first focus. And somehow people are still campaigning on that. But actually the legislative part, we got our job done. So in previous years, we requested $17 million, $20 million, and these attempts have been unsuccessful. This year, we went for all of it, $130 million. So we can actually save the state money by not phasing it out. And I sent out this tear and send postcard to every district in the, every house in the district, and I let them write why we need the high school. And then they sent it to the finance committee, and we received hundreds of those. We also went to Kihei 4th Friday and did the same, and I carried a bunch of testimony from the community over with me to the Capitol, and we got it. We got the full $130 million, and that's actually more money than we secured in the district over the last 15 years. We got it this year. We also got a covered play court for Kamalili Elementary. We got new AC fixed for Kihei Elementary.
For my place too? Okay.
We got like a litany of projects done, and despite having a smaller budget this year and being extra fiscally responsible, we made sure we took care of infrastructure and priority projects first.
You wonder how they do this, you wonder where and what takes priority. How do you figure what takes priority? Obviously, to get $130 million in a limited budget, it's interesting. Anything suffer that you saw? That didn't get what they need?
Well, when the entire CIP budget, capital improvement budget, is around $300 million, and one district out of 51 gets half of that, you're going to have certain other members that are a little bit envious, are a little bit bitter. But, this was a project that we've been waiting for over 20 years, and our community has literally been without a high school for way too long. We have 1,000 kids that are ready for a public DOE school.
You probably went to Baldwin or Maui High, right?
I went to Kamehameha, yeah. But,
okay.
But
long drive, and you don't get the after-school thing because you're so far away.
But the high school is also like a sense of identity, right? You have a football team, you have a stadium. We don't even have a gym yet in this district, so it's gonna really give the kids something to be proud of.
That's great. What surprises did you find out about working in the legislature?
Well, I came in as like a brazen reformist. Like, I got to shake things up, and I kind of expected a certain level of, I guess, not corruption, but like under the table kind of paper bag stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, like there's some of that, like in the smoke-filled rooms, but for the most part, people are, my colleagues are generally they come from the heart and they come from a place of intellect. And if you know the issue better than anyone else and you really care about the issue, it's probably going to pass. And that was surprising to me. I thought it was going to be a lot of just like dealing and just pure politicking. So that was actually very heartening and nice.
I don't know if you were involved at all. You've been hearing about GMO labeling, and it went up there, and then it was, I guess it never made it to the light of day. But any thoughts about what happened there? I mean, Ross Baker was saying there, in the state Senate, 3 committees had it, and they all have to agree. And then I spoke to someone else, they say, that's not true.
Well, I mean, it's a really popular issue. I did a survey. I want to make sure I'm still listening to the people, so I sent out a 5-question survey with the hottest issues. And actually, GMO labeling received 85% in support. You know, that's more popular than flannel on Maui. And you know, the kids love flannel here. And unfortunately, it didn't pass the Senate. Although it did pass the state house. And you know, this is a big.
As you can see, we're out with the people. This is the people are here. That's why we have so much noise. Right in the heart of it. In fact, this is Java Cafe. Is that what it is?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you haven't been here, I think they have the best coffee around.
That's right. And 70% of all the coffee served in Java Cafe is actually from Maui.
Wow. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, it's better than Kona.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
So,
oh no, we became the first chamber in the nation to pass GMO labeling in the state house. So the support was on our side. Unfortunately, it died in the hands of the Senate.
So, you've seen this stuff. I don't know what you'll see. Like you said, I'm not sure of the paper bag stuff, but do you think that people that are taking money are from a corporation are kowtowing to them? Do you get a feeling about that?
No. I mean, it's like you got to figure out like which comes first. You know, do you support the corporations because they give you money, or do the corporations realize that they support you and that's why you're funding your campaign, or you support them, that's why they're funding your campaign?
And like Roz said, you know, never has she made a vote and made a deal to get money. I'm sure that could be so.
Right, and it's not just corporations. I mean, if you look at where people's money comes from, especially Democrats, it's unions, it's PACs. Like people, I know there's people claiming that like, you know, I'm not taking money from corporations and lobbyists. Corporations and lobbyists make up like maybe 5% of the normal campaign treasury of any candidate. Most of the money comes from PACs, individuals, and unions. So if you're going to say I'm not going to take money from PACs and unions and corporations and lobbyists, and that's a big deal. You probably have a lot of rich friends, but that's a big deal. You know, I mean, I'm all about not taking huge checks either, because I do feel the influence. Like literally, there's unions that would be, or members from the unions texting us on the House floor, like pressuring us to vote, and you know that's not right.
On the House floor.
Yeah, literally on the House floor. Like you know, how are you going to vote on early childhood education? And you know, you got to deal with that kind of pressure. And you know, if you have a lot of small donations from a lot of people, which I actually had the record amount of donations on Maui from the most amount of people, small donations, both last election and this election, then you don't have that kind of pressure. The people that you really need to cater to are the voters, because they're the ones funding your campaign, and they're the ones who ultimately got you elected, and who are ultimately your boss.
Now that you've done this, do you think that there are a lot of people that, quote, aren't professional politicians that could do this kind of thing? I mean, there are a lot of people that have a lot of fire, and, you know, we all as voters think, I wonder if they know if they can do this job. It's a big job. It's big decisions. But I'm wondering, now that you've done it, you could help somebody new come along?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know what's going to happen in these races. You suddenly, like I say, in this race, you're the veteran because you've had 2 years of solid experience.
Well, I dedicated my education to this as well. You know, I've studied both my bachelor's and my master's in public policy. Worked for Office of Foreign Affairs in D.C. in the federal level. Worked on a city council as a legislative research, on the state level as a legislative aide, and served as a neighborhood board member before I ran. So that's all 4 levels of government. And you know, I took the job seriously. Like, we are a democracy, but we're also a republic, which means, you know, the baker, like a pure republic is like the baker bakes, the policeman polices, and they don't tell each other how to do their jobs. And the same goes for the policymaker. Or also democracy, meaning that the people are in control and get to kind of influence the way that you work. And I take both of those seriously. Like, I'm representing the people, but I also need to be well versed in policy making and understanding not just politics, but what makes good policy and bad, be it economic, social, or regarding law.
And that, I have no idea what that means. I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, oops.
No, I mean, it's just this. You're right. You got to make good decisions.
I mean, I do think that we need the most diverse legislature. And, right now we have a lot of lawyers and we have a lot of business people, but I don't think you need to be a lawyer or a business person to make good policy.
It's not a full year, right? It's only like a session.
Yeah, it's a session, but it's all about the balance, right? So, without young people in politics this year, we wouldn't have gotten minimum wage passed. We probably wouldn't have seen marriage equality passed. We wouldn't have seen certain women's rights issues passed. It really helps. It's great to be a business owner and have that side of the minimum wage issue, but it also helps when someone like me, who worked a minimum wage job just 5 years ago, is able to give his side of the issues. It's all about the diversity. So there's not one type of effective legislature.
Any issues that are, I can always bring up issues, and I just can name things, but things that are important to you that you've been working on that you'd like to share?
Yeah. One issue of mine was engagement, civic engagement, getting people to the polls. If you want to get people to hold us accountable, you got to vote. If you want to balance the big money influence in politics, then power to the people. Come out in numbers and drive the polls your way. And
vote twice, in fact.
No, don't do that. No, we actually our state used to be number one in the nation for voter turnout. And then 50 years later, now, we're dead last. And that's unfortunate. From young people, 18 to 24-year-olds, the statistics are even worse. We come out at less than 20-something%. And I wanted to change that. So, it was a big focus of mine my first term. And, as a freshman legislator on the majority party, they try to give you these baby issues and say, put your name on it and we'll help you out. But I said, nah, I want to focus on something that I can actually feel like I accomplished. And they said, no, you're probably going to fail at that, but I did it anyways. And I focused on same-day voter registration. So that's allowing people to just, if they want to vote, they can just go ahead and do it and register.
Why does it take so long for something like that to go into effect? I understand it's a couple of elections away before it's real, right?
Well, there's concerns of voter fraud. There are concerns of lots of things, but I wanted to make sure that
they push it into the future, I think.
Right, and making sure that the poll workers are well equipped. So I wanted to make sure that we modernize the systems, implement online registration at the same time to actually reduce voter fraud and alleviate the poll workers' burden. So it worked, it passed, and now we're expecting an increase of 6 to 8% in Hawaii, and that's huge, that's giant. And
you heard him, 68%.
Oh, 6 to 8%.
I hope you know the reason that I can sit here and joke is I've seen this guy go from, coming from scratch. I am very thrilled because a lot of people, didn't really know what to see from you, but you've come out strong. It's a really exciting thing to see how hard you work. And I'm glad you didn't have to walk so many houses this year.
I'm coming around again. I am coming around again.
And when he does, if any of you want to buy a house, he's telling you to come to see me. The fact of the matter is, I'm full. I can come up with issues. Hospital. Any thoughts about, I've heard about Kihei Hospital, West Maui, Maui Memorial, all kinds of changes. Any updates for us on that stuff?
Actually Maui Memorial is one of doing the best out of all the public hospitals in the state, but it's still not doing well enough.
They're talking about closing things down all the time because they don't have the money and they can't expand and all these things.
Let's talk about going private, but it's about finding the right balance. Probably not full privatization. It probably has to form some kind of public-private partnership. I know the employees union was a little bit scared about that because there's histories of, like, we were working with Banner last year, and if you look at the history of them, they had some really
that's a company.
big Yeah, they tend to smash unions in the past in other states. So we ditched them. We're looking elsewhere. Hopefully we can work with someone local like Queens. If not, someone with a great reputation like Mayo Clinic. And if they can come in and work with our local systems and find a right balance, then yeah, I think there is a need right now to allow our system to grow and be sustainable at the level it's at. And right now that's just not the case, and it's really a bottomless pit for taxpayer money.
So, what about an idea like the Kihei Hospital? If private money wants to do a hospital, is that they have this thing about a certificate of need? Does that in any way impact? Do you guys get anything into that, or are you not really into that?
I mean, private hospitals are great, but at the end of the day, we do need a public hospital as a social safety net to make sure that if you're not insured and you don't have coverage, you can.
What I was really bringing up, I understand. What I'm bringing up is there was an issue about the Kihei Hospital, and they didn't get their certificate of need. So I'm just wondering, you guys at the legislature don't get involved in any of that, do you?
No.
So there would no change in legislation to allow a private company to be able to come in without me having a certificate of need. Is that something that we brought up? I'm just wondering because people at Kihei are trying to get a hospital. And that's why I'm wondering.
We could. I mean, there's a lot of legislation that needs to happen before we even form a public-private partnership with the hospitals or any other department. So, yeah, there's going to be some changes of legislation if we want to move forward.
Have you seen a lot of things that people propose that get moved on right away versus they propose it and it takes a while to go through?
My big issue, my voting one took a couple years. Other things I focused on, climate change, shoreline erosion, those types of issues move a little bit faster because we had such a broad base of support. But for the most part, unless it's coming down from the governor or from a department,
Slow.
It's slow, but for the right reasons. I mean, you got to make sure that all the kinks are ironed out, and any concern that's raised, you can address.
Well, I get you. Like when I heard what Roz was sharing about that, and the GMO labeling, specifically, that the Attorney General thought it wasn't the state's area to be legislating, it was a federal thing. I'm glad that you decided on your issues to get involved, and not pass the buck. I don't want to pick on the council, but I almost have to. Because of this GMO thing not being addressed locally, it's now creating a separation in our community that I have never seen before. Rival, it's almost like rival gangs instead of trying to work it out to keep the jobs and maybe change the job description, So it's like, could have been done differently.
Yeah, you talk about rival gangs in Kauai when the battle was going on for the buffer zones and everything in the council. There's literally like one side of the street was wearing red shirts and the other side of the street was wearing blue shirts, kind of like South Central LA.
Yeah.
It was pretty horrible.
The Crips and the Bloods, we call them out here, huh? What do we call them in Hawaii? I don't know. But one thing I do know is we have paradise here, but we're being infringed by civilization. I remember when, I don't know if you were here, but Paradise Fruit Stand is where Life's a Beach was. You guess you were really little. And, there were like 2 lights in Kihei. Now there's 2 lights per block, and you can't make a left. That would be interesting. I want to bring it up. I don't know if it's your jurisdiction, but maybe you can tell the county. At Wailea in that upper highway near Hope Chapel, they desperately need a light. Hear that, whoever is responsible? So many accidents happen there. I mean, people come at me because I'm going to be on TV, all kinds of candidates. And so everyone's got pet issues. That one has come up so much. That's not a state thing?
It is. It's happening.
There is.
Senator Baker put in a bill. I put in a companion bill, and it passed. So we got funding for a light there. I know some members of the
You hear that?
Kihei Community Association and some members, they wanted a more holistic plan to change the whole highway and make a few different roundabouts on there. And,
Not
good
yet.
idea, but
Not yet.
it's probably not that realistic right now. In the meantime, we got to take care of the safety, and that would be a light, especially when the high school's going to come up there and that new mall thing. I'm not sure exactly what it's going to look
But
like.
right now, anyone making a left has to deal with oncoming traffic in the left lane, and I'm glad to hear we're handling that. That's great.
Yeah, it's the number one priority for that area. Like I was knocking on doors in that Pilani Village area, and that's all they talk about for the first.
Knocking on doors. That is really,
It works. You did listen.
you know, that knocking on doors has really been probably, once you get past that thing that it's strange, it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, that meant yes.
I mean, like I
you get to meet the people, and that's really worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you'll like knock on the door of like a fervent supporter of your opponent, and it can be kind of nerve-wracking. Like, you know, I have this brand of being a very progressive guy, which, you know, I don't think is necessarily fair. I'm very pro-free market and libertarian in a few ways.
Yeah,
but, you know, because of that, if I knock on a door and I hear like Fox News going on in the background and like a deer head on the door and an American flag, I'm like, all right.
Loaded shotgun,
let's get ready.
ready.
Yeah. It's like, just be nice, be humble. And, but yeah, it can be a little stressful in certain areas.
Anything you want our viewers to know about you that you think? Obviously, as an incumbent, you go into this race, and a lot of people know you in the world. They have a lot of respect for you. But you never, I'm sure the guy back east, you know, never expected to lose. So you've been working hard, I see. Anything you want to tell the people out here?
No, I don't think I've lost touch yet, and if I do, hopefully I'll leave the job myself before you guys force me out. But you know, this is my home. I was born and raised here, and you know, I've seen a lot of changes on Maui, and some are really positive, and some I think could use some work. And it's really important to look down the line. Every politician talks about looking at the future, and they try to make it more probable or more concrete by saying like, what will Maui be like 20 years from now or 50 years from now? 20 and 50 years from now, that's within my lifetime, hopefully. And you know, there's a certain level to accountability, and kuleana to that. So, you know, it's my life on the line. That's my kids we're talking about. So, you know, if I start now, if there's mistakes that are made, I can tweak it along the way. But I'll always be looking at the long term and not just the immediate quick fix. And, you know, I think that's what's good about having young people in politics and a new generation coming up. And, you know, as long as I remain humble, which I hope I'm doing, and listen to the kukuna and my constituents, then I think we can go far as a community. We got that high school, number one priority. We're the lowest voting district. I focused on that. GMO labeling, we got that through the House.
We're going to try that again. Well, we'll see what happens here this year.
Yeah.
Maybe Monsanto will require anyone buying seeds that they have to label every product they sell. Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah, I mean, the irony is they're saying, like, these companies were saying that the labeling issue was, like, to smear them, and it was, like, a thing to, like, lessen their brand and move towards a ban. But it's like, look, we're already looking at a ban. And partially because you guys aren't labeling, and it's like, and you're fighting labeling so hard that it's scaring people even more. Like, if you're so proud of your product, label it.
How many people have we seen? You say GMO, and they go, "I don't care. I'm diabetic. That's how I get my insulin. I don't care about GMO, or it's not a big deal, or so whatever." But we've gotten to this point where polarizing everybody. Just label everything, and it would make it so much easier.
Yeah, I just feel like if we labeled it a couple years ago, then the debate wouldn't have gotten to where it is now with the ban. You know, Japan, they label all their GMOs, and it doesn't cost companies more. People change labels every few weeks. Like I think there's like 6 different Pepsi cans for the World Cup. Like, it's not that hard to add like another line of text, right?
I hope
but
that you
there's no
heard
ban
that,
in
people
Japan.
out there. We love you. We don't want you to lose jobs. We want you to be just
Long-winded cow that just walked by.
very long-winded. Yeah, I think there's no question that we could approach things that we want to agree and resolve things rather than stick our side so strong. I mean, even the people that don't like GMOs, if they knew they're GMOs, then don't buy it. But if it's not labeled, just like you say, it's like, here we go. Now we have to get radical, and so it's gone as far as an initiative. That was a major thing.
Yeah.
Major. You know what it takes to get all these signatures? That was an extraordinary event.
It's unreal.
It really was.
I mean, I'm really proud of it because it's like the people, you know, just the power of the populace. See where it goes.
We shall see. It's up to you guys. I hope that you'll all be informed, and maybe before the election we can find some kind of something that can happen. I don't know exactly. I just know that I don't like seeing our community polarized like this. Do you find that you can work with most of the people that you're up there with? That you have most people that are interested in cooperating?
Yeah, I mean, right now there's two factions in the House. A lot of people don't talk about this in the public, but you know, there's a faction that got Speaker Joe elected as Speaker, and then there's a dissident faction that and you know, unfortunately, no matter, especially as a freshman, you introduce something, throw the whole kitchen sink at your bill and try to kill it. The other faction, they'll rip it apart. And
is it a spiteful thing? I mean,
yeah, I mean, there's also the factions are actually, they're not super petty. Like, they're actually based on ideological differences. At the end of the day, you know, that side is a lot more, I guess, institutionalized, and our side is a lot more populist in many instances. And you know, but I came to learn that no matter like what the intention is of them trying to squash my bill, they actually bring up some valid points, and they're worth discussion. And at the end of the day, my bill is better than it was when I first wrote it. So, you know, it can get hard and contentious, but I think that's part of the political process, and it makes for better legislation.
See that? Takes it all. I mean, is there any question? Here's one. Now, you know, there are things that aren't really state issues that I think they're bigger than life.
Cane burning.
No. I was thinking of homelessness. You know, but I don't know whose jurisdiction any of that is. I just know that I'm seeing an incredibly growing homeless community everywhere, including here. And, you know, there's no place for anyone to be. Have you heard anything proposed that's going to be in any way giving any relief?
Yeah. We have a Housing First program that we launched this year, which is, you know, we can survey people, we can build shelters, we can do lots of things, but if we don't have enough homes for the amount of people, there's going to be homeless. At the end of the day, it's a supply and demand problem. And
it's a this problem, right?
Yeah, so
there's lots of houses here, and they don't get built because everything's being built for the super rich, and the people that need houses, there's no housing.
That's right. We had like 2,000 luxury condos pop up in the last 5 years in Maui alone, and
how does that help the homeless?
Not.
How does that help the renters?
Not. It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And so it's about affordable housing, but it's also about
Housing First Party. It's for new owners.
It's for it's like smaller units mainly, so it can be anything from a studio apartment to literally a container, like a storage container, as a housing unit. And we're putting a lot of funding for that, and we're trying to launch the program and keep it as slim as possible, to with as little bureaucracy as we can.
I hope that's of some help, you know, and I hope that anything that isn't happening in government, the other part that I just personally like to stress is, you know, you can help without having to send someone to the state or the county. It's going to take you and me to help people. You know, when there's someone that has a need, what about it? You know, that's, I think, where the rubber meets the road. You do this, I do this, we all do this because we care. And we hope that you will reach out and take a look in your heart and be helping people. To me, that's the biggest issue. I've seen too many people that were working that aren't, and are working and still can't make ends meet to have a place to live.
Yeah, we actually, it's like it could be a partisan issue, putting government money into these types of initiatives. So, you know, a lot of us young legislators, we got together and we formed the Hawaii Future Caucus, which looks for a post-partisan future in Hawaii. And so there's Republicans, Democrats, all kinds of people in this caucus, and we're focusing on issues like education, higher education.
That was another one of those cows.
We're focusing on homelessness. So one thing we want to look at is crowdfunding, just like a Kickstarter, entrepreneurship.
Works for a few. It's, I mean, I don't know what the percentages are. Every so often someone gets big, but a lot of people go on there. It takes a lot. Kickstarter, there's a couple of them.
But if we do something like that through the state, and let's say we're looking to fund a new shelter, we don't have enough money, but everyone in the community wants to put in,
Have you tried that?
That's what we're trying to make that viable through the state right now, in the most streamlined way possible. Because every time we try to do something with the market, there's just so much red tape. And I think people from both sides of the aisle, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, we can agree that that's one area we can improve on a lot.
Notice he didn't say green, but I bet you green guys out there are going, this election we're going to see green candidates. Now this is really good. You know what I like?
That's me though.
What?
The green guy.
Well, you know what I appreciate is that that the young people are talking about post-partisan separation. It really doesn't create it. You've got to remember we're all on the same team. We all want to get the same thing. We all want a better quality of life. I'm really thrilled that you're involved. Thank you for running again. Thank you for doing a great job.
Thank you.
And make sure you guys get out and vote. We want those numbers up.
Thanks for upping the level of civic engagement. It's really important.
Aloha.